Hello, everybody. My name is Jacqueline, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about my project on Clara Barton. I will be talking about her life and her legacy. Well, to begin with, I just want to say how inspired and amazed I was by this amazing woman who was a trailblazer, a pioneer, who really to this day left a huge mark and an impact in our government, in our society, in our communities, really globally. And so this was exciting to learn about this piece of history, and just even the role that she played in this point in time in history. And so although this was just so long ago, like it's beautiful to really learn about how history plays out in our life as we have the role of remembrance and learning about history and all of this. So I'm going to go on. Um, and my very first one is a beautiful photo of Clara Barton. This is who she is. This gives us an idea about what she looked like. And even as you're looking at her, you can just see she had just she carried such humility. Her footprint began in the 1800s. And as we learn about her, we just know that her footprint began in the 1800s, but to this day, she still is one of the most influential women, being the founder of the American Red Cross, being an educator, and a huge public servant. Going on, something that we're going to learn, Clara Barton, before she became a self-made nurse, she was an educator. She spent her life in education. She was really passionate about equity. She was very passionate about all children receiving the education that they deserved and received despite their economic background. So she was a huge advocate in her early road in education. She really made sure that she fights for the rights of children. And so her career began in education. She had a very, very unconventional road, as you may say. Her nursing field was, I mean, she's someone who trailblazed through this as a woman. The nursing field was at this time in the 1800s reserved for men. However, she carried such compassion that it didn't stop her from pursuing this field of nursing. So what she decided to do, she decided to learn how to be a nurse all on her own. So she was a self-taught nurse. And in her journey as a nurse, she was innovative. She created so many new methods that are still used today. And so the idea of cleanliness and the treatment of the sick and wounded was then a very new idea when she realized that these practices weren't being, people were not being clean. They weren't, they were exposing wounds to a lot of bacteria, a lot of sicknesses, different things like that. She realized that there needs to be a change. She wanted to care so deeply for them. And so she really introduced new and innovative ways to treat wounds, to treat sicknesses and diseases and all of that. Um, so yeah, she ultimately reshaped how medical care was practiced during war. She is just incredible. She believed in really treating everyone with dignity and care. And so in all of her pursuits, she made sure that she was going to do this in the way that she treated all of her patients. Her her work really began during Civil War, which is why I love this image because she wasn't afraid. She wasn't afraid to go out there. She wasn't afraid to, put herself in a place that was potentially dangerous for her. Her involvement in the American Civil War, she was a key player. Her role in providing care to the soldiers who were wounded on the battlefield surpassed her lack of training in the very beginning. It was her care and her compassion that ran her to the field. She provided relief in many ways. Not only did she tend to physical wounds, but she helped in boosting morale. She was there. She provided such a calming spirit. She was making sure that people were well taken care of. You can almost think of it as a very motherly spirit. The condition in the battlefields were just crazy, and the care at the times were non-existent. But Barton's relentless work saved so many lives. She really ensured that the soldiers had access to clean water and food, and she organized supply chains of medical equipment to them. So think of her having such compassion. It led her to push past her educational requirements, and she ran to the field, became a key player in the American Civil War, and she treated these soldiers. But not only did she treat them medically, she made sure that they had food and water and their morale was taken care of. And she made sure that every system that she seen that was not working efficiently, she went on and she made the systems better. Um, that was really amazing. So, as she was being exposed to all of this, I believe, in my opinion, that her biggest impact that we still see today is that she was the founder of the American Red Cross. Like, this is a real postage. This photo right here is a real postage of her and what the postage was at the time. It's her being the founder of the American Cross, which was founded in 1881. Again, this is her greatest legacy. When she was out in the field, she got a lot of exposure to the International Red Cross, which was a separate entity, and she realized we need this in America. We need to have an American Red Cross. She was deeply and passionate moved um, by providing international relief, humanitarian aid, international aid. She wanted to continue to serve and take care of everyone. This really laid out the foundation for the future role of many women. And so this was really incredible. She then began to, from being a nurse, she then founded this organization and she began to move her work as well to recruiting volunteers and fundraising and beginning to start the foundation of what the American Red Cross is today. Under her leadership, the Red Cross responded to many disasters in the nation, and she was positioned as a key player in emergency response. And so through the creation of the Red Cross, it was a huge vision for humanitarian aid, and it expanded beyond wartime efforts. It was both domestic and international disaster response efforts. So this is incredible. Imagine this in the late 1800s, like this American Red Cross, like it created hope and this sense of just support in our nation. And so this was really incredible. I love this photo because she earned the title of the angel in the battlefield. This is what they called her. She was known as the angel, and think of an angel, one that is fearless, one that shows up and is ready to fight. That is who she was. And that is really inspiring. Because of this, she really paved the way for women. She was a huge activist, advocate. And so just even as you look at this photo, think of this being who she is. I love that there's a Red Cross right there, the logo and or the nurse logo. And she just showed up and people looked at her. There's children around her. She was admired. She was the angel of the battlefield. She continued to do her advocacy work. She was a huge women's right movement lady. And she made sure that women had a place at the table. And I really love that about her. She made sure that women were getting into fields that they previously were not in because they were expected to be in domesticated roles. She made sure that these positions were open. She got a lot of partnership and endorsements from government agencies. She was one of the very first federal women workers. And so this just shows who she is. And so this is something that I particularly really am grateful as a woman who is also in public service, is being able to see this, seeing that what she did in the 1800s, 1900s is what even led me as a woman to be in public service. And so This is incredible. She was incredibly admirable, one of the first women to work directly in the military during war. Her ability to oversee all of the care and the compassion that she carried really marked everyone around her. And now today, we just see who she is. She never let anything stop her. To close, I leave you with this quote. The American Red Cross posted this on her 200th birthday, and they said, You must never, she said, you must never think of anything except the need and how to meet it. This was who she was. She gave up her life to serve on the field, to start the American Red Cross, to pave the way for so many women and children. And to this day, the American Red Cross is one of the leading forefronts for humanitarian aid. So I leave you guys with that. Her life was one of deep compassion, service, and dedication to humanity. So I hope you guys have a great day. I'm really grateful to present this to you. I particularly was really inspired by her, and just really grateful. So thank you guys. This is Clara Barton.